You want the truth? I've wanted you from the start. Now you know, are you brave enough to stay?
I don't know.
This says you've never been pregnant. Not now, not ever. Care to explain?
I can explain, please just listen.
3 months, all built on a lie. Give me one reason I shouldn't have made you disappear tonight.
Please, I can explain.
The doctor's words hit Brielle like ice water in July. Miss Laurent, you've never been pregnant. Not now, not 3 months ago, not ever. Your medical history is clear. She sat frozen in the sterile examination room watching Dr. Kim's lips move but hearing only the death sentence hidden between each syllable. Because in exactly 47 minutes, she was supposed to meet Tae-Jin Kang, the man who controlled half of Seoul's underground empire, for what he believed was a routine prenatal checkup for the child she'd claimed was his. The child that had kept her breathing for the past 94 days. The child that had transformed her from disposable Maid into untouchable asset. The child that had never existed anywhere except in the desperate lie she'd screamed when his rivals' men had cornered her in the mansion's wine cellar, their intentions written in the hungry way they'd looked at her, their threats dissolving the moment she'd choked out, "I'm pregnant with Tae-Jin's baby." She'd watched their faces drain of color faster than champagne down a crystal flute, watch them back away like she'd suddenly become radioactive, watch them scramble to report to Tae-Jin that his woman had been compromised but was carrying his heir. That lie had bought her protection, privilege, and a private suite in his Gangnam penthouse. That same lie was about to get her erased from existence. But here's what made her stomach twist with something beyond terror. 3 nights ago, she'd discovered something impossible while organizing Tae-Jin's private files, medical records showing he'd had a vasectomy 2 years before she'd ever set foot in his world, which meant he'd known from the very first second that her pregnancy was biologically impossible. Yet he'd played along anyway, moving her into his inner circle, assigning bodyguards to shadow her every step, treating her like precious cargo while knowing she was lying through her teeth. The question that had kept her awake ever since wasn't whether he'd punish her when the truth officially surfaced, but why a man famous for eliminating deception had spent 3 months protecting a lie he could have crushed with a single word. Dr. Kim was still talking, something about scheduling follow-up tests, but Brielle's mind was already racing through scenarios that all ended with her disappearing into the Han River. She had 47 minutes to figure out why Tae-Jin had let her charade continue. 47 minutes to understand the game being played. 47 minutes before the most dangerous man in Seoul decided whether she lived or died. And the terrifying part was that she still couldn't tell which option he preferred. Her phone buzzed. A message from Tae-Jin himself. "Change of plans. Come to the penthouse immediately. We need to talk before the appointment." Brielle's heart stopped. He knew. Somehow he already knew that she'd just discovered she wasn't pregnant, which meant the real game was about to begin, and she was walking into it completely blind. If you're just discovering Black Soul Romance TV, you're about to witness something extraordinary. Drop a like right now if this hook already has your heart racing. Comment which country you're watching from and what you think Tae-Jin's real plan is. And subscribe because this channel is your new addiction for stories that hit different. We're building something legendary here, and you're going to want every episode. The drive from the medical district to Tae-Jin's Gangnam penthouse usually took 23 minutes. But today, with Seoul's afternoon traffic crawling like wounded prey, Brielle had 35 excruciating minutes to contemplate her mortality. She sat in the back of the black Mercedes that Tae-Jin had assigned to her the day after her pregnancy announcement, watching the city blur past tinted windows while her mind constructed and demolished escape plans with equal speed. Running was impossible. Tae-Jin's network extended into every corner of South Korea like roots of an ancient tree, invisible but inescapable. She'd seen what happened to people who tried to flee his world. They didn't get far, and they definitely didn't get second chances. Explaining was laughable. What would she even say? "Sorry I lied about carrying your child to avoid being dealt with by your enemies, and sorry for continuing the lie for 3 months. But in my defense, you apparently knew the whole time, so really, we're both complicit in this mess." The only option left was the truth, which terrified her more than any punishment, because the truth meant admitting that somewhere between the desperate lie and the present moment, something had shifted. She'd started noticing the way Tae-Jin's eyes softened when he thought she wasn't looking, the way his hand would rest protectively on her lower back when they walked through his territory, the way he'd canceled business meetings to drive her to fake doctor appointments, sitting in waiting rooms reading pregnancy books with an intensity that seemed almost genuine, unless all of it was theater, an elaborate performance before the final act where he revealed he'd been playing her all along. The Mercedes pulled into the underground garage of Tae-Jin's building, a glittering monolith of steel and glass that dominated the Gangnam skyline like a throne. Brielle's bodyguard, a stoic man named Woo-jin, who'd been assigned to her since week 2 of the pregnancy, opened her door with his usual professional courtesy. "Mr. Kang is waiting in his private study," Woo-jin said in careful English, his expression unreadable. "He asked that you come alone." Alone. That was either very good or spectacularly bad. Brielle stepped out of the car on legs that felt borrowed from someone braver. She'd dressed carefully that morning in a cream dress that she knew Tae-Jin liked, not that it mattered now, but old survival instincts died hard. Her dark skin glowed against the pale fabric, her natural hair styled in elegant braids that had taken her 3 hours the previous evening. If this was her last day on Earth, she'd at least look stunning for the exit. The private elevator to the penthouse required biometric clearance. Brielle pressed her thumb to the scanner, wondering if Tae-Jin had already revoked her access, but the doors whispered open with mechanical indifference. 53 floors of ascending dread later, she stepped into the foyer of the penthouse she'd called home for 3 impossible months. The space was exactly as she'd left it that morning, floor-to-ceiling windows, showcasing Seoul's sprawl, minimalist furniture that probably cost more than most people's houses, art pieces that whispered old money and older power. But today, the beauty felt like a museum exhibit. The last place she saw before everything ended. "You're early." Tae-Jin's voice came from the study, smooth as aged whiskey and just as intoxicating. "I appreciate punctuality." Brielle found him standing by the window wall, backlit by the afternoon sun so his features were shadowed, mysterious. At 34, Tae-Jin carried power like a second skin in the precise cut of his charcoal suit, in the controlled economy of his movements, in the way his presence could fill a room without effort. His face was all sharp angles and intelligent eyes, the kind of beautiful that made you forget to breathe until it was too late. "You said we needed to talk," Brielle managed, her voice steadier than her pulse. "We do." He turned fully to face her, and his expression was impossible to read. "But first, tell me something honestly. When you claimed to be pregnant 3 months ago, did you expect me to believe you?" The question hung in the air like a blade. Brielle had spent weeks preparing for this moment, rehearsing explanations and apologies and defenses. But standing here, trapped in his gaze, all her carefully constructed speeches evaporated. The truth spilled out instead. "No, I expected you to see through it immediately and decide whether I was worth the trouble of keeping around." She lifted her chin. "I was buying time. 10 minutes, maybe an hour. I never thought." She stopped herself. "Never thought what? That you'd let it go this far, that you'd play along." Her eyes locked with his, "that you'd keep protecting a lie you knew was impossible." Something flickered in Tae-Jin's expression, surprise, maybe, or satisfaction. "So you figured it out. The vasectomy records in your medical file. I wasn't snooping intentionally, I was organizing documents like you asked." And I saw Brielle's breath caught. "You've known from the beginning that I couldn't possibly be pregnant with your child." "Yes, just that. Yes." No explanation, no justification, just calm acknowledgement that he'd been running a game she couldn't see. Brielle's frustration cracked through her fear. "So what is this? Some elaborate way to humiliate me before you?" She couldn't finish the sentence. "Before you what?" The options were too dark. Tae-Jin moved closer, each step deliberate. "Before I what, Brielle? Punish you? Eliminate you?" He was close enough now that she could smell his cologne, something dark and expensive that made her traitorous body respond despite everything. "Is that what you think of me? I think you're the most dangerous man in Seoul, and I lied to you for 3 months. And men like you don't forgive that kind of disrespect." "Men like me," he repeated, something almost amused in his tone. "You've been living in my home, eating at my table, sleeping 20 feet from my bedroom, and you still don't actually know me at all, do you?" Brielle's anger flared. Then explain it to me. Why did you let me continue the lie? Why the bodyguards and the prenatal vitamins and Her voice broke slightly. Why did you treat me like I mattered when you knew I was lying? Tae-Jin reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, his fingers brushed her cheek with devastating gentleness. Because, Brielle Laurent, the night you claimed to be pregnant with my child, you did something no one in my world has done in over a decade. You surprised me. That's it? You were entertained by my desperation? No. His thumb traced her jawline. I was fascinated by your courage. You were cornered by men who would have hurt you in ways I won't describe, and instead of begging or crying or accepting your fate, you created leverage from nothing. You weaponized the one thing you knew they'd have to report to me. That kind of strategic thinking under pressure. His eyes held hers. That's not common. That's exceptional. Brielle's mind reeled. So you what, decided to keep me as some kind of curiosity, a pet project? I decided to keep you because the moment my men told me you were pregnant, I realized I finally had a legitimate reason to do what I'd wanted to do since the day you walked into my home. Her heart hammered, which was, claim you as mine. The words were simple, devastating. Not as a maid, not as a temporary arrangement, as something permanent. The world tilted. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious about anything. Tae-Jin's other hand came up to frame her face. But there was a problem. In my world, I can't simply take what I want when it comes to people. There are rules, hierarchies, expectations. I needed leverage to keep you in my life without it looking like weakness. And then you handed me the perfect excuse of pregnancy that gave me absolute justification to move you into my inner circle, assign protection, treat you as untouchable. Brielle's breath came in shallow gasps. You're saying you used my lie as cover for your own agenda. I'm saying we used each other. His smile was slight but genuine. You needed protection from my world. I needed a reason to give it without exposing vulnerability. We both got what we wanted. But the lie has an expiration date. Eventually, there'd have to be a baby and today you discovered there isn't one. Tae-Jin's expression shifted to something more serious. Which brings us to the real question. What happens now? Brielle's mind raced. I don't understand. If you wanted me here, why let it come to this? Why not just tell me? Because I needed to know something first. His eyes searched hers with unnerving intensity. I needed to know if you'd run the moment you realized the protection was built on false pretenses. If you'd take the first opportunity to escape this world, escape me. So I had Dr. Kim instructed to tell you the truth about the pregnancy and see what you'd do. The pieces clicked into place. You set this up. The appointment, the revelation, all of it was a test. Yes, to see if I'd run, to see if you'd come back. Tae-Jin's hands dropped from her face, but he didn't step away. And you did. You came straight here instead of disappearing into the city, which tells me everything I needed to know. Brielle's head spun, which is that somewhere in the past 3 months you stopped seeing this as a temporary survival strategy. His voice lowered, and started seeing it as something else. She wanted to deny it, wanted to laugh at the absurdity and walk out with her dignity intact. But lies had gotten her into this mess, and somehow, standing here with Seoul's most dangerous man looking at her like she was something precious and rare, the truth felt like the only weapon left. Yes, she whispered. Somewhere between the fake pregnancy and the real moments, I stopped pretending. Her eyes met his. But that doesn't change reality. I'm a maid from overseas who lied her way into your life. Your organization will never accept me. Your family will never accept me. And eventually, that's going to matter more than whatever this is. Tae-Jin smiled then, properly smiled, and it transformed his face into something devastating. Brielle, I've spent 15 years building an empire by refusing to let other people's expectations dictate my choices. Do you really think I'm going to start now? Before she could respond, he pulled a small box from his pocket, black velvet, elegant, expensive. Brielle's heart stopped. What is that? A solution to our current problem. He opened it, revealing a ring that caught the light like captured starfire. You needed a pregnancy to stay in my world safely. That protection is about to expire, so we're going to replace it with something more permanent. You can't be serious. I'm always serious when it comes to protecting what's mine. He took her hand. Marry me, Brielle, not as a continuation of a lie, but as the truth we've both been avoiding. I want you in my life, in my world, permanently. And this, he gestured to the ring, gives us both the legitimacy we need. Brielle's entire reality fractured. This is insane. You barely know me. I know you're brilliant enough to outmaneuver trained operatives with nothing but quick thinking. I know you're brave enough to walk back into the lion's den instead of running. I know you've challenged me more in 3 months than anyone has in years. His thumb brushed across her knuckles. And I know that when I imagine my future, you're in it. That's enough. Your mother is going to lose her mind. My mother doesn't run my life. Your organization will revolt. Let them try. Brielle stared at him, searching for the trap, the angle, the hidden blade. But all she found was intensity, certainty, and something that looked dangerously like sincerity. Why me? She asked finally. You could have anyone, someone from your world, someone who fits, someone who bores me within minutes, someone who sees me as a prize instead of a person, someone who'd never have the audacity to lie to my face and then double down when caught. Tae-Jin's expression softened. I don't want someone who fits into my world perfectly, Brielle. I want someone who disrupts it, challenges it, makes it bigger than it was before. Her chest felt tight. And if I say no, then I'll respect that. You'll stay here with full protection until we figure out a safe exit strategy. I won't force this. His eyes held hers. But I'm hoping you won't say no. Brielle looked at the ring, then at him, then out at Seoul sprawling beneath them like a promise and a threat combined. Every logical part of her brain screamed that this was madness. That you didn't build a life on lies and desperation and 3 months of playing pretend. But somewhere deeper, in the part of her that had survived impossible situations before, a different voice whispered that maybe that's exactly how the most extraordinary lives were built, from chaos and courage and the audacity to reach for something that shouldn't be possible. Ask me again, she said quietly. Tae-Jin's eyes flashed with something that might have been triumph or relief or hope. He went down on one knee right there in his study, holding the ring up like an offering, like she was something worth kneeling for. Brielle Laurent, will you marry me? Not to maintain a lie, but to begin a truth. Not because you need protection, but because I need you to stay. Will you take a chance on something impossible and build something real with me? She should have thought it through. Should have listed pros and cons and exit strategies and contingency plans. Should have done literally anything except what she actually did. Yes. The word fell from her lips before her brain caught up, but somehow it felt right. Felt true in a way that nothing else had in months. Tae-Jin slid the ring onto her finger, a perfect fit, because of course he'd already sized it somehow, and stood, pulling her into his arms with a possessiveness that should have frightened her, but instead felt like coming home. You have no idea what you've just agreed to, he murmured against her hair. I have some idea, she countered, her arms wrapping around him. Your world isn't exactly subtle. My world is about to get a lot more complicated. He pulled back enough to look at her. Starting with dinner tonight. Dinner? With my mother. She requested a family meal to discuss the impending arrival of her grandchild. His smile held dark humor. I suppose we'll need to adjust that narrative slightly. Brielle's stomach dropped. Tonight, as in a few hours from now? Is that a problem? Your mother hates me. She's going to lose her mind when she finds out there's no baby, and we're getting married anyway. Probably. Tae-Jin seemed unbothered. But she'll adjust. She always does. How can you be so calm about this? Because, my future wife, I've been planning this conversation for 3 weeks. I have strategies in place for every possible reaction. He guided her toward the bedroom wing. Now, let's get you into something that says I'm about to become part of your family, whether you like it or not. We have 4 hours before we need to leave. Brielle let him lead her, her mind spinning with too many thoughts to process individually. Somewhere in the chaos, one clear realization emerged. She'd come here expecting an ending and instead found a beginning. Whether it was a beginning that led to happiness or disaster remained to be seen, but she was committed now. The ring on her finger caught the light as they walked, heavy with meaning and promise. and the terrifying certainty that nothing would ever be simple again. 4 hours later, Brielle sat in the back of Tae-Jin's car, wearing a midnight blue dress that probably cost more than her childhood home, heading toward a dinner that might end in warfare. The city lights blurred past as they drove through Seoul's evening traffic, each mile bringing them closer to the confrontation she'd been dreading. Tae-Jin sat beside her, working through messages on his phone with one hand, while his other rested possessively on her thigh. The casualness of the gesture still surprised her, this man who could command entire networks of loyalty with a glance, touching her like she was something precious. "Stop overthinking," he said without looking up from his phone. "I'm not overthinking. You're vibrating with anxiety. I can feel it from here." Now he did look at her, eyes sharp with perception. "What's the worst thing you think will happen tonight?" Brielle considered lying, but they'd had enough of that. "Your mother will make it clear I'm not welcome. Your sister will follow her lead because she always does. And you'll have to choose between defending me and maintaining family peace, which puts you in an impossible position." "Accurate assessment of their likely behavior," Tae-Jin acknowledged. "Completely incorrect assumption about my response. You're going to defend me regardless of the consequences. I'm going to make it clear that you're not a choice I'm making against family. You're family now. There's no contest, no competition. You're mine, which makes you theirs, whether they like it immediately or need time to adjust." His hand squeezed her thigh gently. "And if they can't adjust, that's their problem, not yours." The certainty in his voice should have reassured her. Instead, it highlighted how completely her life had transformed. 3 months ago, she'd been worried about keeping her work visa current. Now she was heading into a family dinner that might reshape Seoul's power dynamics. They pulled up to a traditional Hanok-style restaurant in Busan, the kind of place that required reservations months in advance and didn't have prices on the menu because if you had to ask, you couldn't afford it. Security personnel were already stationed at the entrance. Tae-Jin's people, recognizable by their subtle earpieces and the way they scanned every approaching vehicle. "Ready?" Tae-Jin asked as the car stopped. "No, but I'm going anyway." His smile was approval and affection mixed. "That's my girl." They exited the vehicle together, Tae-Jin's hand finding the small of her back immediately, a possessive gesture that wouldn't go unnoticed by anyone watching. The walk through the restaurant to their private dining room felt like a gauntlet. Staff members bowed deeply to Tae-Jin, their eyes flickering to Brielle with barely concealed curiosity. The private room was traditional Korean elegance, low table, cushioned seating, sliding doors with paper screens. And already seated were the 2 women who were about to make or break Brielle's evening. Lady Kang, Tae-Jin's mother, looked exactly as Brielle remembered from their previous brief encounters. 60-something years of refined beauty and absolute authority, wearing a designer hanbok that probably cost more than a luxury car. Her hair was perfectly styled, her makeup flawless, her expression glacially polite. Next to her sat Jae-hyun, Tae-Jin's younger sister, 30 years old and carrying the same sharp beauty as her brother, but with their mother's disapproving edge. She looked up as they entered, her eyes immediately dropping to the ring on Brielle's finger with laser focus. "Mother, Jae-hyun," Tae-Jin greeted them with perfect formality. "Thank you for meeting with us on short notice. When my son says it's important, I make time." Lady Kang's eyes moved to Brielle, assessing and dismissive in equal measure. "Miss Laurent, I trust you and my grandchild are both well." And here it was, the moment of truth. Tae-Jin guided Brielle to sit beside him before responding. "Actually, Mother, that's what we need to discuss. There is no grandchild." The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. Ji-hyun's eyes widened. Lady Kang's expression didn't change except for the slightest tightening around her eyes, a tell that she was recalculating everything. "I see," Lady Kang said after a loaded pause. "And when did you discover this disappointing news?" "I've known from the beginning," Tae-Jin replied calmly. "It was never medically possible for Miss Laurent to be pregnant with my child." The silence that followed could have shattered glass. Ji-hyun found her voice first. "You've known for 3 months, and you let all of us believe." "Yes." "Why?" Lady Kang's voice was dangerously quiet. "Because I needed a legitimate reason to move someone I care about into my inner circle without it appearing as weakness or distraction." Tae-Jin's tone remained completely neutral. The pregnancy provided that cover, so she lied to you. Lady Kang's eyes bore into Brielle, and you rewarded that lie with protection and privilege. She protected herself using the only leverage available when she was in danger. Tae-Jin corrected. I chose to use that situation to my advantage as well. We both benefited from the arrangement. And now? Ji-hyun demanded. Now that the lie is exposed, what happens to your little project? Tae-Jin reached for Brielle's left hand, raising it so the ring caught the light. Now, she becomes my wife. If the previous silence had been cold, this one was arctic. Lady Kang's eyes fixed on the ring with an expression that could freeze oceans. You cannot be serious. I've never been more serious about anything. She's a maid, a foreign worker, someone who lied her way into our family with false claims of pregnancy. Lady Kang's voice gained sharp edges. And you want to bind our family to her permanently? Mother, don't mother me, Tae-Jin. This is beyond inappropriate. It's insulting to our family, our reputation, everything we've built. What you've built, Tae-Jin said quietly, is an empire that I now run. And I'm choosing to share that empire with someone who's proven herself worthy of it. Worthy? Ji-Yoon's laugh was bitter. She lied from day one. She survived from day one, Tae-Jin countered. In a world that would have crushed her otherwise, that takes intelligence and courage qualities I value more than noble bloodlines or social credentials. Lady Kang stood abruptly. I will not sit here and watch you destroy everything for a woman you barely know. This meeting is over. Sit down, mother. The command in Tae-Jin's voice could have stopped traffic. Even Lady Kang hesitated, caught between maternal authority and the reality that her son now held the real power. I said sit down, Tae-Jin repeated, softer but no less absolute. Because we're going to finish this conversation, and you're going to understand something crucial. Slowly, Lady Kang sat, her expression promising retribution. I have given 15 years to this family's empire, Tae-Jin continued. I've sacrificed relationships, opportunities, normalcy, everything to maintain and grow what father built. I've never asked for anything in return, until now. So this is a transaction. Lady Kang's voice dripped acid. You'll continue running the family business if we accept your questionable choice in bride? No. I'll continue running the family business regardless. What I'm asking is that you respect my choice enough to give Brielle a fair chance. Not acceptance immediately, I'm not naive, but a chance to prove herself beyond the circumstances of our meeting. Brielle had stayed quiet through the entire exchange, knowing that interrupting would only make things worse. But now, with all eyes potentially on her, she felt the need to speak. I know this isn't what you wanted for your son, she said, addressing Lady Kang directly. And I know my presence disrupts your plans and expectations, but I'm not asking to replace you or diminish your family's heritage. I'm just asking for the opportunity to prove I can be worthy of being part of it. Lady Kang's gaze could have stripped paint, and if you're not, if you prove to be exactly the opportunistic foreigner I believe you are, then I'll leave, Brielle answered, the words costing her but feeling necessary. If I genuinely can't meet the standards required, I won't force myself into a family that doesn't want me. Tae-Jin's hand tightened on hers in warning. He clearly hadn't wanted her to make that concession, but Brielle pressed on. But I'm asking for 6 months. Half a year to learn your world, prove my commitment, show that I'm more than the desperate lie that brought me here. She met Lady Kang's eyes without flinching, that's all. 6 months of fair judgment. The room held its breath. Finally, Lady Kang spoke. 6 months. But you will attend every family obligation, learn our expectations, prove yourself in every aspect of what being part of this family requires. One misstep, one embarrassment, one indication that you're unworthy, and this discussion ends. It was harsh, conditional, barely civil, but it was an opening. Agreed, Brielle said before Tae-Jin could negotiate further. Lady Kang's eyes narrowed. And the wedding? After the 6 months, Brielle answered. If I've proven myself worthy, then we marry with your blessing. If not, she didn't finish the sentence. Tae-Jin looked like he wanted to argue, but he also seemed to recognize that Brielle had just secured something his demands couldn't. A path forward that didn't require family warfare. Fine, Lady Kang said coldly. 6 months. Starting tomorrow, I'll have my assistant send you a schedule of requirements and expectations. She stood again. Now if you'll excuse me, I've lost my appetite. She swept from the room with Jae-hyun following, leaving Tae-Jin and Brielle alone in the sudden quiet. You didn't have to do that, Tae-Jin said once they were gone. I would have handled my mother. I know. But this way, when we marry, it won't be because you forced them to accept it. It'll be because I earned it. Brielle turned to him. Assuming I can survive 6 months of your mother's scrutiny. You just outmaneuvered trained operatives and my mother in the same quarter. I think you'll manage. But concern lingered in his eyes. Are you sure about this? 6 months is a long time to have every move judged. I've spent my whole life being judged for where I came from and what I looked like. At least this time I'm being judged for what I can actually do. She squeezed his hand. Besides, you think I'm going to give up on this now? I just agreed to marry Seoul's most dangerous man. I'm all in. His smile was slow, dangerous, proud. Good, because starting tomorrow, I'm going to make sure you have every resource you need to destroy their expectations. Meaning my mother wanted to test you. Let's make sure you pass so spectacularly that she has no choice but to respect you. His eyes gleamed with strategy and affection. Welcome to the family business, future Mrs. Kang. It's time to learn how to run an empire. As they left the restaurant, Seoul's night embracing them with neon and possibility, Brielle realized that the lies she'd told 3 months ago had transformed into something far more complex than survival. It had become a foundation for something real, dangerous, and utterly impossible to walk away from. The game had changed. Now she just had to make sure she won. The next morning arrived with the subtlety of an invasion. Brielle woke in the penthouse guest room to find 3 women in her sitting area, armed with tablets, measuring tapes, and expressions that suggested failure wasn't in their vocabulary. Good morning, Miss Laurent, the eldest said in crisp English. I'm Mrs. Park, Lady Kang's personal consultant. We have 8 hours to begin your transformation before tonight's event. Brielle sat up, her brain still foggy. Tonight's what? The Gangnam Charity Gala. Seoul's elite society gathering. Your first public appearance as Mr. Kang's fiancée. Mrs. Park's smile could cut glass. Lady Kang thought it would be an excellent test of your ability to represent the family appropriately. Of course she did. Throw Brielle into the deep end on day 1 of the 6-month trial and see if she drowned. I see. Brielle swung her legs out of bed, refusing to show intimidation. Where do we start? What followed was 8 hours of intensive training that made boot camp look gentle. Mrs. Park and her assistants covered everything. Proper greetings in formal Korean, which families held which alliances, who could be trusted and who smiled while plotting your downfall, how to hold a wine glass, how to navigate conversations about wealth without sounding impressed or dismissive, even how to walk in designer heels without looking uncertain. Your posture reveals everything, Mrs. Park corrected for the 20th time as Brielle practiced walking across the penthouse living room. You carry yourself like someone who's still surprised to be in these spaces. That reads as weakness. Stand like you belong here, like you've always belonged. Easy to say when you've had a lifetime of training, Brielle muttered. You have 6 months. I suggest you learn quickly. But Mrs. Park's expression softened slightly. For what it's worth, Lady Kang typically gives potential daughters-in-law a full year of preparation before exposing them to society events. The fact that she's pushing you this hard, this fast, means she wants me to fail spectacularly and publicly. Means she's testing whether you have what it takes to survive in this world when the gloves come off. Mrs. Park's eyes held something like respect. Most would have run by now. I'm not most people. No, Mrs. Park agreed. I'm beginning to see that. By the time Tae-Jin returned to the penthouse at 6 p.m., Brielle had been dressed, styled, coached, and transformed into someone who looked like they'd been born into high society. The midnight blue gown hugged her curves perfectly. Her natural hair had been styled into an elegant updo with gold accessories that caught the light, and the makeup artist had achieved that impossible balance of looking flawless while appearing natural. Tae-Jin stopped dead in his tracks when he saw her. What do you think? Brielle asked, suddenly uncertain despite the hours of preparation. I think I'm going to have to threaten half the men in Seoul tonight for looking at you too long." He crossed the room to her, his eyes dark with possession and pride. "You look devastating." "Mrs. Park's work, not mine." "Mrs. Park provided the tools. You provide everything else." His hand found her waist. "Are you nervous?" "Terrified. Your mother basically set me up to fail in front of everyone who matters in your world." "Probably." He didn't sugarcoat it. "But here's what she didn't account for. You're not walking into that ballroom alone. You're walking in with me. And anyone who wants to disrespect you will have to do it to my face. That might make things worse. Like I need you to protect me. You don't need me to protect you. You've proven that repeatedly. But I want to. There's a difference." He adjusted a stray curl near her temple with unexpected gentleness. "Tonight, just be yourself. The woman who was brave enough to lie to save her life and smart enough to turn that lie into leverage. That woman can handle anything Seoul society throws at her." The Gangnam Charity Gala was held in a hotel ballroom that looked like someone had liquefied diamonds and poured them over every surface. Crystal chandeliers, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, women in gowns that cost more than cars, men in tailored suits discussing business deals worth millions like they were debating lunch menus. Brielle entered on Tae-Jin's arm, and the whispers started immediately. She caught fragments as they moved through the crowd. "That's her? The maid? I heard there was a pregnancy scandal. She's actually quite beautiful, but really, a foreigner. Tae-Jin Kang's engaged. His mother must be devastated." "Ignore them," Tae-Jin murmured against her ear. "They gossip because their own lives are boring. Easy for you to say. You're not the one being dissected like a science experiment." "No, but I was when I took over the family business at 23. Give them a week, they'll find someone else to obsess over." They made it approximately 7 minutes before Lady Kang intercepted them. "Tae-Jin, Miss Laurent." Her greeting was formal enough to wound. "How lovely that you could both attend. Miss Laurent, there are several people you should meet. As Tae-Jin's fiancée, you'll need to understand the social landscape." It was a trap disguised as courtesy. Brielle recognized it immediately. Lady Kang was going to parade her in front of Seoul's elite and watch her make mistakes. "I'd appreciate that, Lady Kang," Brielle said with practiced courtesy, channeling Mrs. Park's endless lessons. "Thank you for thinking of my education." Lady Kang's eyes narrowed slightly at the perfect response, but she recovered quickly. "Come then, Tae-Jin, I'm sure you have business to attend to." It was a dismissal. Tae-Jin looked ready to argue, but Brielle squeezed his hand. "I'll be fine. Go do whatever empire building you need to do." His expression promised retribution later, but he nodded. "Behave yourself, mother. I'd hate to have to choose sides. I raised you. You'll always choose family." But Lady Kang didn't sound entirely certain. Once Tae-Jin was out of earshot, Lady Kang's demeanor shifted from cold to arctic. "Let me be clear, Miss Laurent. Tonight isn't about helping you. It's about exposing your inadequacies before you embarrass my family further. Every person I introduce you to will be evaluating whether you're worthy of the Kang name. Most will find you lacking. Then I'll just have to prove them wrong." Brielle met her eyes without flinching. "We'll see." The next 2 hours were a masterclass in social warfare. Lady Kang introduced Brielle to Seoul's elite with the kind of precision normally reserved for surgical strikes. Each introduction was designed to highlight Brielle's foreignness, her lower social status, her complete lack of preparation for this world. "This is Mrs. Choi, whose family has been in Seoul for 12 generations. Mrs. Choi, this is Miss Laurent, who arrived in Korea 2 years ago as a domestic worker." "How fascinating," Mrs. Choi said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "And how did you meet Tae-Jin?" The question was innocent on the surface, poisonous underneath. How did a maid meet a crime boss's heir? The real answer was messy and complicated, but Brielle had prepared for this. "I was working at his residence when we discovered a shared interest in classical literature," she answered smoothly, pulling from a detail she'd learned from one of Tae-Jin's bookshelves. Tae-Jin has an impressive collection of European first editions. We spent an evening discussing Dante's Inferno, and things developed from there. It was close enough to truth to be believable. Tae-Jin did have the book collection, while making their meeting sound cultured instead of desperate. Mrs. Choi's eyebrows rose slightly. You read Dante in Italian? English translation initially, but I've been learning Italian since then. The nuances are extraordinary when you can access the original text. Complete lie, Brielle had never touched Dante but Mrs. Park had coached her on bluffing with confidence. Lady Kang's expression suggested she knew it was fabrication but couldn't prove it. Score 1 for Brielle. The introductions continued. Each one was a minefield of subtle insults and loaded questions. But Brielle had spent her life navigating hostile environments, and Seoul's elite society was just another battlefield with different weapons. Then Lady Kang introduced her to someone genuinely dangerous. This is Vivienne Song. She and Tae-Jin were close friends growing up. Vivienne was stunning in the way expensive breeding produces perfect features, perfect style, perfect everything. She looked at Brielle with the kind of assessment that suggested she was calculating exactly how to destroy her.
So you're the famous fiancé,
Vivienne said in flawless English with a British accent. I have to admit I never imagined Tae-Jin settling down, especially not so quickly. Life is full of surprises, Brielle responded carefully. Indeed. Vivienne's smile sharpened. I hope you know what you're getting into. Tae-Jin's world isn't for everyone. The pressure, the expectations, the constant scrutiny. It breaks people who aren't prepared for it. Is that concern or a threat? Observation. I've known Tae-Jin since we were children. I understand him in ways most never will. Her eyes held challenge. I'd hate to see him make a mistake he can't undo. Before Brielle could respond, a commotion erupted near the ballroom entrance. Raised voices, the kind of disturbance that made security personnel shift into action mode. Tae-Jin appeared through the crowd, his expression thunderous, dragging someone by the arm, a man in his 30s, expensive suit wrinkled, face flushed with alcohol and rage. You think you can embarrass me? The man shouted in Korean, his words slurring. You think you can steal from my territory and face no consequences? Several things happened simultaneously. Security moved to intercept. Lady Kang's face went pale, and Tae-Jin's hand moved to his jacket in a gesture that suggested weapons and very bad decisions. But before Tae-Jin could do whatever terrifying thing he was planning, Brielle acted on instinct. She stepped directly between Tae-Jin and the drunk man, her hands raised in a calming gesture, and spoke in rapid Korean that Mrs. Park had drilled into her all day. Mr. Park, your family has my deepest respect. Whatever business disagreement exists between you and Mr. Kang can surely be resolved through proper channels tomorrow when you're feeling more yourself. Tonight is for charity, not conflict. Let's not dishonor the cause by making a scene. It was a gamble. Using the formal speech patterns she'd barely mastered, appealing to the man's pride while offering him a face-saving exit, all while physically blocking Tae-Jin from doing something that would make headlines. The drunk man, Mr. Park, apparently blinked at her in confusion. Who are you? Someone who'd hate to see two respected families damage their reputations over a misunderstanding that could be resolved privately. Brielle kept her voice gentle but firm. Your daughter is watching from the corner. I'm sure you want to set a good example. That landed. Mr. Park's eyes tracked to where his teenage daughter stood with friends, her face mortified by her father's behavior. The fight drained out of him. This isn't over, he muttered to Tae-Jin, but it lacked conviction. Tomorrow, my office. Sober. Tae-Jin's voice was controlled ice, but his hand had dropped from his jacket. Security escorted Mr. Park out while the crowd slowly resumed normal conversation, though everyone was clearly still processing what had just happened. Lady Kang looked at Brielle with an expression impossible to read. Vivienne's assessment had shifted to something like reluctant respect, and Tae-Jin pulled Brielle aside with barely contained emotion. What were you thinking? He demanded quietly. He could have hurt you. He was drunk and embarrassed, not dangerous. You, on the other hand, were about to do something that would have caused real problems. Brielle met his eyes. I was thinking about protecting you from yourself. Tae-Jin stared at her for a long moment, then did something completely unexpected. He laughed, genuinely laughed, the tension breaking like a snapped wire. You just saved me from a very expensive PR nightmare. I just prevented you from proving your mother right about me being a disruptive influence. Oh, you're definitely a disruptive influence. just not the kind she meant. He pulled her closer, ignoring the watching crowd. That was brilliant. That was terrifying. That was you proving exactly what I already knew, that you belong in this world because you understand what it needs better than people who've lived here their whole lives. Lady Kang approached, her expression carefully neutral. That was impressively handled, Miss Laurent. It wasn't quite approval, but it was significantly closer than open hostility. Thank you, Lady Kang. Mrs. Park's training was excellent. Mrs. Park can only teach technique. Judgment under pressure is something else entirely. Lady Kang's eyes held grudging acknowledgement. Perhaps you won't embarrass the family as thoroughly as I anticipated. Coming from her, that was practically a blessing. The rest of the evening passed with notably less hostility. People who dismissed Brielle earlier now engaged her in actual conversation. Vivienne even offered a genuine compliment about Brielle's handling of the situation, though her eyes still promised future competition. By the time they returned to the penthouse after midnight, Brielle was exhausted in ways that had nothing to do with physical tiredness. You were magnificent tonight, Tae-Jin said as they rode the elevator to his floor. You know that, right? I survived. That's not the same as magnificent. You did more than survive. You proved to everyone watching that you can handle this world's worst moments with grace and strategic thinking. He pulled her close. Including my mother, which might be the most impressive achievement of the evening. Your mother still hates me. My mother respects you. For her, that's far more valuable than affection. The elevator doors opened and they stepped into the penthouse. She'll never admit it, but you won a major battle tonight. Brielle kicked off the torturous heels and sank onto the sofa with a groan of relief. One night down, how many more tests do I have to pass? Knowing my mother, dozens. Tae-Jin loosened his tie and sat beside her. But you don't have to face them alone. That's what tonight taught me. What do you mean? I mean, I've been approaching this wrong. Thinking I needed to protect you from my world, fight your battles for you, shield you from the worst of it. His hand found hers. But you don't need shielding. You need partnership. Someone to watch your back while you watch mine. Brielle's chest tightened with emotion she hadn't expected. Are you saying what I think you're saying? I'm saying let's stop pretending this is a temporary arrangement or a strategic alliance. I'm saying I want this to be real. Not in 6 months, not after you've proven yourself to my mother, but now. You and me, building something genuine in the middle of all this chaos. Tae-Jin, I know it's fast. I know it's complicated. I know every logical reason this shouldn't work. He turned to face her fully. But I also know that when I imagine my future, you're the only person I see standing beside me. Not because you need me, but because I need you. Brielle had prepared for many things, tests, challenges, social warfare. She hadn't prepared for raw honesty from a man who showed vulnerability to approximately no one. This is insane, she whispered. Probably. We barely know each other. We know the important things. Everything else we can figure out together. Your mother will make my life difficult. She already is. You're handling it better than I expected. Brielle laughed despite herself. You have an answer for everything, don't you? Not everything, but I know what I want. And I want you. All of you. The brilliant strategist who stopped me from making a terrible mistake tonight. The brave woman who lied her way to safety. The person who challenges me to be better than I am. His thumb brushed her cheek. So I'm asking again, without pretense or strategy. Will you marry me? Not in 6 months, but as soon as we can arrange it. Build this life with me for real. Every sensible part of Brielle's brain screamed warnings. Too fast, too complicated, too dangerous. But the part of her that had survived impossible situations by trusting her instincts said something different. Yes, she said. The word feeling like jumping off a cliff and growing wings on the way down. Let's do something completely insane together. Tae-Jin's kiss was triumph and relief and promise all at once. When they finally broke apart, Seoul glittered outside the windows like a promise of everything they were building together. Fair warning, Tae-Jin murmured against her lips. My mother is going to lose her mind when we announce we're not waiting 6 months. Let her. We'll handle it together. That's my girl. The next morning they told Lady Kang over breakfast in the penthouse. Her reaction was exactly as predicted. Shock, fury, and dire predictions about reputation and proper protocol, and how this would destroy everything. But Brielle noticed something crucial beneath the outrage. Lady Kang wasn't actually fighting the decision. She was testing whether they were united enough to withstand her disapproval. "We're getting married next month," Tae-Jin said calmly, cutting through his mother's tirade. "At the Shilla Hotel, you can either help plan it and save face by appearing supportive, or you can boycott and confirm to all of Seoul society that your son's happiness matters less than your pride." Lady Kang's eyes narrowed. "You're giving me an ultimatum. I'm giving you a choice. Same choice you gave Brielle yesterday. Prove you're bigger than your first impressions and prejudices, or confirm everyone's worst assumptions about you." It was a risky gamble, turning Lady Kang's own strategy against her. For a long moment, Brielle thought she'd overestimated their position. Then Lady Kang laughed a genuine surprised sound. "You've been learning from her," she said to Tae-Jin, gesturing at Brielle. That speech had her fingerprints all over it, strategic, cutting, but offering me a dignified exit. "Actually," Brielle interjected, "that was all him. I was just as surprised as you." Lady Kang's assessment shifted again, seeing them as a unit rather than her son and his questionable choice. "1 month is barely enough time to plan a proper wedding. Then I suppose we'll need your expertise," Tae-Jin said smoothly, "since you've always known how to make impossible timelines work." Flattery and acknowledgement of her competence, another strategic move that made Brielle proud and slightly afraid of how well they were learning to manipulate situations together. Lady Kang stood, her expression still severe but less hostile. "Fine, 1 month. But this wedding will be done properly or not at all. I won't have Seoul society thinking we're rushing because of another fake pregnancy scandal." "Agreed," Brielle said quickly. "And Miss Laurent Brielle," Lady Kang corrected herself deliberately, "you will still attend all family obligations and prove yourself worthy. Marriage doesn't exempt you from expectations." "I wouldn't want it to." Something like respect flickered in Lady Kang's eyes. "We'll see. Jae-hyun will be devastated she missed this conversation. I should call her before the gossip reaches her through other channels." After she left, Brielle collapsed against Tae-Jin with a shaky laugh. "Did that just happen? We just got my mother's grudging approval to marry in a month." "Yes, that happened. She's going to make my life a living nightmare during wedding planning, isn't she?" "Absolutely, but you'll handle it." His arms tightened around her. "And I'll be there for every minute of it." The next month was exactly the beautiful chaos Brielle anticipated. Lady Kang threw herself into wedding planning with the intensity of someone conducting military operations. Every detail was scrutinized, debated, perfected. Brielle attended fittings for a wedding dress that cost more than a luxury car, taste-tested menus with Michelin-starred chefs, and learned more about Seoul's elite families than she'd ever wanted to know. But between the madness, there were moments of genuine connection. Jae-hyun slowly warmed to Brielle after watching her handle family obligations with increasing confidence. Lady Kang's tests became less about destruction and more about genuine preparation for the role Brielle was stepping into. And every night, Brielle returned to the penthouse where Tae-Jin waited, ready to hear about her day and share pieces of his world she hadn't seen yet. They talked about everything: his childhood, her past, their hopes for the future, the strange path that had brought them together. "Do you ever regret it?" Tae-Jin asked one night as they sat on the balcony overlooking Seoul. "The lie that started all this. If you could go back, would you do it differently?" Brielle considered the question seriously. "If I could go back, I'd have wanted to meet you differently, under circumstances that didn't involve desperation and deception." She turned to him. "But I wouldn't change where we ended up. Everything that happened, the lie, the fear, the impossible situation, it brought us here. And here is pretty incredible. Even with my terrifying mother and impossible social obligations, even with all of that," she leaned into him, "because I get you, and you're worth the price of admission." The wedding day arrived with perfect spring weather, clear skies, warm sun, Seoul in full bloom. The Shilla Hotel had been transformed into something from a fantasy, traditional Korean elements mixing with modern elegance. Hundreds of guests filled the venue, Seoul's elite turning out to witness the union that had scandalized and fascinated them in equal measure. Brielle stood in the bridal suite, staring at her reflection in a wedding gown that made her look like she'd stepped out of a dream. Lady Kang had chosen it herself, which somehow made it more meaningful. A knock on the door revealed Lady Kang herself, dressed in an elegant mother-of-the-groom hanbok. "May I come in?" Of course. Lady Kang entered, her expression softer than Brielle had ever seen it. "I wanted to give you this before the ceremony." She held out a small box. It belonged to Tae-Jin's grandmother. She wore it on her wedding day, as did I on mine. Inside was a delicate jade bracelet, clearly ancient and priceless. "Lady Kang, I can't, you can. You've earned it." Lady Kang's voice held unexpected emotion. "When you first appeared in my son's life, I saw you as a threat. Someone who didn't belong, who would damage everything we'd built. But this past month, watching you handle impossible situations with grace, seeing how you've made Tae-Jin happier than I've seen him in years." She paused. "I was wrong about you, and I don't often admit that." Brielle's eyes stung with unexpected tears. "Thank you. That means more than you know." "Don't make me regret it," Lady Kang said. But there was warmth beneath the warning. "Now let me help you with this bracelet. We can't have you walking down the aisle with tears ruining your makeup." The ceremony was traditional Korean, conducted with rituals that Brielle had studied intensively to perform correctly. But when she walked down the aisle and saw Tae-Jin waiting, looking devastating in his traditional groom's hanbok, his eyes holding promises of everything they were building together, all the protocol and expectations faded away. This was real. This was theirs. This was the impossible thing they'd created from lies and desperation and the courage to reach for something better. The vows were exchanged in Korean and English, binding them legally and culturally. And when Tae-Jin finally kissed her as his wife, Seoul's elite society erupted in applause for the union they'd thought would never work. At the reception, Brielle found herself surrounded by well-wishers who'd dismissed her a month ago. Vivienne even offered a genuine congratulations, though her eyes still held friendly competition. "You surprised everyone," Vivienne admitted, "including me. I didn't think you'd last a week under Lady Kang's scrutiny. I had good motivation to prove you all wrong." Clearly, Vivienne's smile turned conspiratorial. "For what it's worth, Tae-Jin looks at you the way I've never seen him look at anyone. You're good for him. I'm going to try to be." Late in the evening, as the celebration continued around them, Tae-Jin pulled Brielle onto the balcony overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline. "How are you holding up, Mrs. Kang?" "Mrs. Kang," Brielle repeated, testing the name. "That's going to take getting used to. You have the rest of our lives to adjust." His arms wrapped around her from behind. "Any regrets?" "Not a single one. You? Only that I didn't meet you sooner." He pressed a kiss to her temple. "Though maybe this timing was perfect. Maybe we both needed to become who we are now to recognize what we'd found." That's surprisingly philosophical for a crime boss. "I contain multitudes. You're still discovering them all." Brielle laughed, leaning back into his embrace. Behind them, Seoul sprawled in all its chaotic beauty, the city that had tested her, challenged her, and ultimately welcomed her. Ahead lay a future she couldn't have imagined 6 months ago. Partnership with a man who saw her strength, family who'd learned to respect her, and a life built on the foundation of the craziest lie she'd ever told. "What are you thinking?" Tae-Jin asked. "That I started this journey trying to survive one night, and somehow ended up with forever. Good forever or concerning forever, the best kind of forever, the kind worth lying for." His laugh rumbled against her back. "Should I be worried that my wife considers lying an acceptable foundation for marriage? Only one lie. Everything after has been truth." She turned in his arms to face him. "Including this, I love you, Tae-Jin Kang. For exactly who you are, chaos and danger and impossible standards included. I love you too, Brielle Kang, for the courage you showed me, the strength you carry, and the way you make my world bigger just by being in it." They kissed as Seoul's lights flickered like stars, the city bearing witness to the impossible thing they'd built together, a love story that started with the most desperate lie and transformed into the most honest truth. 6 months later, when Lady Kang hosted a family dinner and genuinely smiled at something Brielle said, Tae-Jin leaned over and whispered, "You've officially won her over. I'm almost impressed." "Almost?" I'm saving full impression for when you inevitably convince her to retire and let you help me run the family business. Brielle choked on her wine. You're joking. I never joke about empire building. You've got the strategic mind for it. His eyes gleamed with challenge and invitation. So what do you say, Mrs. Kang? Ready for the next impossible thing? Brielle looked at her husband, at the family who'd learned to accept her, at the city she'd made her own, and felt that familiar rush of courage that had saved her life once and changed it forever. Always ready, let's build something legendary. And in Seoul's glittering heart, surrounded by the people in the world they'd fought to create together, Brielle Kang embraced the beautiful chaos of her impossible life with the man who'd turned her desperate lie into the truest thing she'd ever known. If this story took you on the wildest ride, show some love. Hit that like button if the twists left you shook. Drop a comment with your favorite moment and shout out where you're watching from. Let's create a global family of story lovers. And smash that subscribe button because we're just getting started on this journey to epic Afro Korean romance tales. Together, we're building something unstoppable. Next stop, 1 billion views and subs. Let's make magic happen.